Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Tony from Automate Reviews. Today I got a 2019 Rav4 Hybrid Limited that I'm reviewing. It has 36,000 miles and we've had it for 3 years. Curious to see how it's holding up, so stay tuned and we'll find out. So this is my wife's 2019 Rav4 Hybrid Limited. We bought this thing brand new back in July of 2019. We've had it for a little over 3 years and we put 36,000 miles on it. And as a whole, we've been very happy with it. It's a great family vehicle for small families. We only have one child. But this thing's been as advertised. It's been great. From a styling perspective, I think the Rav4 as a whole looks pretty good for a small crossover, and I would say it's probably one of the more, I guess, masculine looking ones, if you want to call it that, especially in the front end compared to some other ones. But as a whole, I think it looks pretty good. For this review, I decided not to clean up the car. It is black, so you can never keep this freaking thing clean, as I'm sure some of you know, owning a black car. But this is probably what your car is going to look like the majority of the time. If you're a small family, you're always busy, you don't always have time to wash your car. So black cars are tough to keep clean, but this is, I believe, the midnight black metallic. And if you can get a good look at the blue chips that sparkle in it, but it's a nice black paint. It's just black, so it's a pain in the ass to keep clean. Here's a close-up of the front end. I want to see if there's any major paint chips or things like that, how well the paint's holding up. Kind of see some chips there. It does have like a plastic bumper underneath that's not painted, so that is more durable than the painted black as far as not being susceptible to chips. Kind of see some scratches here. I think we have some parking lot battle wounds here, or my wife's driving, one or the other, whoever you believe. It's all scuffed up here. That's not necessarily the fault of the car, but as a whole, I'd say the front end's holding up pretty good. So on the side, on the fenders compared from the front and the rear, I did notice we have some wavy looking pattern over there. Not sure if that's a combination of UV damage and more prominent road salt damaging there versus the rear, but I think both are getting the same exposure to UV rays and salt, so not sure why that's happening there. Also, this Rav4 does have all-wheel drive. The rear wheels have a dedicated electric motor that just powers just the rear wheel, so there's no direct coupling between the front and the rear. So on the tail end side of things, everything's holding up pretty well. I don't see any damage or fading or anything with the plastics back here. We do have a rear view camera right here. Also, this one has the rear view mirror system, and here's the camera back here. It's pretty nifty. I'll talk more into detail with that in the later part of the video. So the Rav came with these 18-inch rims, which I think look pretty good. Pretty standard looking rim, but these are the original tires that came with the car. I believe they're Michelin Primacy tires. They're 225 60R18s. So these tires have 36,000 miles on it, and let's check the tire tread depth. The only question I have is I'm not sure what kids nowadays are going to be using to measure the tread depth. Do we use Venmo cards or what's going on here? I don't think kids know what change is, so couldn't find a penny. Here's a quarter. Here's George Washington's head. I don't know if you can see that. So this is after 36,000 miles. The tires will need to be changed probably within the next 10 to 20,000 miles. Okay, now that we're done with the exterior, let's take a look at the interior. Here's the key fob for the car. It's one of Toyota's newer styles. It's a nice key, it's lightweight, feels pretty sturdy, has all your usual controls there. This does have keyless access, so all you have to do is touch the door handle. There's a touchpad behind there that unlocks the door. One thing I want to point out too, there is puddle lights on this guy, so it illuminates the ground over here, which is nice. I just kind of wish it was LED and not the amber crap. The mirror does have an LED turn signal, so if you want to lock the car, all you have to do is hit the ridge. Like usual Toyota fashion, there's a ridge underneath well, so you can kind of do that method to lock the car. But to unlock it, all you have to do is put your hand back here, and off you go. So here's a quick look at the interior of the RAV4. It does have Toyota's soft tex leather, which is really good faux leather. It's better than vinyl of yesteryear, and everything's holding up pretty good. Let's take a closer look at some of the common wear areas. So here's the driver's armrest. Can't really see any wear or tear there. This is soft tex material over here as well. Good place to rest your arm, no wear there. The driver's seat, this is your common wear point. And as a whole, got a little bit of wrinkles here, which is common. No ripping or anything, but it looks pretty good. And on the steering wheel, may look faded, but it's actually just dirty. I know using a wipe with water or something will easily clean that up. Here's a closer look at the center armrest. No wear and tear here either. This is a nice squishy material, a little bit more so than what I'm used to with most Toyotas, but nice material. It's holding up good. Here's a closer look at the driver's mat. I myself prefer the all-season weather mats, but this is just a carpeted material. It's pretty cheap and flimsy, but I guess it's doing its job. But you're always better off with all-season mats. So on the driver's side door, the RAV does have auto up-down for all 4 windows, which is nice. Lock and unlock. You got power mirrors. You do have 2-person memory seats. Another dislike I have in the car is these memory seats. The only thing it stores memory on is just the seat position. It's kind of annoying. It doesn't remember the mirror position. The whole point of this, in my opinion, for memory seats is to have it automatically be easily switchable between 2 drivers, aka my wife and myself. So all it does is move the seat, but you still got to move the mirrors and all that stuff. So it's kind of annoying. The other dislike I have is when it's hot out and the rubber seal on the driver's side window gets hot. It makes this really loud, annoying squeak. So to start the RAV, all you have to do is put your foot on the brake and hit the power button here. So as you can see, we have a little over 36,000 miles on it, but it's a nice clean digital cluster and analog cluster. It's a nice mix of the two, but it's pretty useful. You can change the way the graphic looks. Going into your settings here, we can change this real quick. You can also have this look, which I think looks pretty ugly. So I prefer this type. I think that looks cleaner. So we do have automatic headlights with automatic high beams. And here's the switches over here. This is your dimming switch over here. This is how you engage and disengage your automatic high beams. For your automatic high beams to work, you do have to put your high beams on, and you'll get a little indication right at the top over there when your lights are on and when your automatic high beams are active. The system works great in the RAV, no complaints there. We also have buttons for heated windshield wiper rest area. So where your wipers rest, it has a little heating element there. That's kind of nice to have. Also, a must-have feature is the heated steering wheel. The only thing I don't like about the heated steering wheel in Toyota is, I don't know why they do this. I think it's probably a cost-saving measure, but it only heats up this portion of the steering wheel. So the top and bottom of your steering wheel stays cold. So kind of annoying, but you still have enough of an area where your steering wheel gets heated. Just wish they did the whole steering wheel, but as a whole it works great, warms up super quick. Here's your infotainment screen, pretty standard Toyota head unit. One thing I do like is all the knobs and buttons. They're pretty big and easy to reach. Unlike my Tacoma, it has really tiny volume knobs and 2 knobs. I kind of wish they did this. Kind of looks a little bit more rugged anyways with how rubberized, textured it is. Just super grippy to do. And same thing with the automatic dual zone climate control knobs. Really big, really easy to grab, super clicky, just feels great. All the buttons are easy to use. We also have 3-stage heated and cooled seats. The heated seats work great in both passenger and driver side. Cooled seats work great as well. It obviously works better when your climate control is on, when it's circulating air conditioned air. All it has is a fan inside the seat that moves the air in the cabin around. As you can see, the leather seats are perforated. Let me know in the comment section below if any of females out there or your wife's actually use the cooled seats. Everyone I know, including my wife, women seem to hate the cooled seats for whatever reason. Us guys, we love it for obvious reasons, to get some nice cool air flowing down there, but I do like the cooled seats. Nice feature to have. Here's the shifter in the RAV. It's a nice shift knob. It's pretty big and clunky. Feels good in the hand. It's not Toyota's old school gated shifter. It's just straight back into drive. It does have a sport mode you can go into, shift gears up and down. They are simulated gears. This is a hybrid powertrain, so you're not going to have traditional transmission with gears. Also has an automatic parking brake, which is nice. Another feature I really like is this brake hold function. When that's engaged and you come to a stoplight, it'll hold the brake for you. It does time out after maybe a minute or so. You'll get a notification on the screen saying put your foot on the brake. All you have to do is touch the brake pedal again and it'll keep holding it for you, but it won't disengage the brake. What it'll do is it'll shift, it'll put your emergency brake on if you don't put your foot on the brake. So it's kind of weird it does that. On a drive mode selector, it does change colors in here. I know it's a little bit tough to see during the daylight, but when you put it in eco mode, it turns green. Sport mode is red. And then when you push for blue, it's normal. It does change the color in your instrument cluster as well, change it between the different modes. That's eco, sport, and normal. Here's a look at the rear view camera. It is pretty standard graphics wise. You can change between different camera angles. This is a super wide angle, and that's a standard angle there, and I think this is your trajectory line here. You can disable that on and off depending on what style you want. One thing you have to get used to when driving the Rav4 Hybrid is all the looks you're gonna get. Not because this thing looks great, but all the questionable stares, because when you put it in reverse, it has a very odd sound that people are just not used to hearing. So you're at a parking lot and you're reversing, people hear that, they just snap their heads and look at you like, what the F is that? So here's the rear view mirror on the Rav. Seems like a standard mirror. You have your 3 garage door openers there with the home link. The cool feature that this have is this little tab over here that when you flip it, it activates your camera that's located in the back over there that I mentioned earlier. So if you have a lot of items blocking your view back here, you can use this camera to still see out the rear when driving. I've maybe only had a couple occasions where it actually came in handy. I had, picking up balloons for a party and couldn't see out the back, so I had this rear view mirror camera there. Also, when my daughter's riding in the back, she kind of likes to have it on so she can just have something to look at, I guess. But from a driving perspective, it kind of, not a fan of it having it on all the time. It kind of makes me nauseous in a way. You lose your depth perception when you're looking vehicles coming your way versus looking at a mirror traditionally. Maybe I'm just used to it and not used to this setup. But yeah, I guess it's nice to have. You can adjust different options, brightness. If you want to move your camera position up and down, you can do that. So you can kind of customize it with different areas. If you want to zoom in more, you can have it zoomed in more. So you can customize it based on what you want with that. But it's nice to have. This is an auto dimming mirror traditionally, so it's I can only imagine how expensive this thing is to fix if this thing ever breaks. Up top, we just got a standard sunroof. Panoramic moonroof is available on a Rav, but we just have a standard one. One thing I don't like is Toyota's use of 2 buttons to open and close the roof. It's kind of annoying. Like, say you have it cracked and you just want to open the freaking thing. You go to open it over here and nope, won't open. You got to close it first, wait till it's closed, and then you can open it. So one of the upgrades we did as well was we went to LED lighting for the map lights and the dome light, as well as the lights above the mirrors. I don't know why car makers are always putting halogen bulbs still, but that's one of the things we did. But while I'm up here as well, one of the dislikes I have as well is the sunglass holder is pretty narrow. It can't hold big sunglasses, and it's a pretty shallow area. It's kind of hard to get in there if you have bigger hands. Not a fan of that. And also, we usually have a switch that will illuminate all the lights inside the car, and this is the only Toyota where I've seen where it'll do the map lights in the front, but the dome light in the back it won't do. It's just these front lights. So it's kind of annoying, especially if your kid can't reach the dome light in the back and you're trying to illuminate the car or something. So it's kind of a weird omission, and you can't see it in this video. Maybe I'll do a nighttime video, but all these switches up here are not illuminated at night. It's just pitch black, minus the nuclear launch SOS switch over here. So Toyota did a pretty poor design with this thing up here. So getting into one of my favorite areas of the Rav is interior storage pockets and usability. It's very comfortable to spend multiple hours in a vehicle if you're going on a long road trip, and then you just have so many storage options. Cup holders are pretty good as well. They have the tabs there to hold your drinks in place. That works well, but the storage bin's pretty big, standard size wallet. You got a big storage area over here. Got a storage shelf over here. You can fit a wallet there. And then running along the passenger side, you have a huge storage shelf there as well. So that's an awesome feature to have. I wish more cars did that. Door pockets, good storage there as well. Pretty standard there. Bottle holder and a little bit more room for storage. There is no storage up here. You just have a grab handle there in the door. Center armrest, pretty decent storage there. A little on the smaller side. Got a tray there. Got 2 USBs. 2.1 amps, so that can actually charge pretty fast. Fairly deep, not too deep, I guess. Pretty standard center armrest storage here. And get this tray back in. And glove box, pretty standard, bin style. It is dampened. Fit decent amount of stuff in there as well. So interior storage, it's really good in here. The only real issue we had on the RAV didn't affect drivability or anything with the vehicle, but it was kind of an odd one, and it was as soon as we got the vehicle, pretty much came straight from the factory. But there was a recall involving the fuel gauge. For whatever reason, when you filled up your vehicle and it would stop at the gas pump automatically on its own, it would never fill up completely on the gauge. And that happened on multiple different types of gas pumps and whatnot. So Toyota did have a recall on that. They did issue a fix. I believe they replaced a fuel gauge sensor in the fuel tank itself. But just a strange recall, I guess. I've never seen that before in a vehicle, especially a brand new vehicle. And it was only affected the Rav4 hybrids. So I think there was a different tank design for the hybrids. But like I said, it didn't affect the drivability of the car or anything. But other than that, the Rav has been bulletproof. So being an SUV, you're buying it for practicality, and the Rav is no different. It has pretty good storage behind the rear seats. It does have a power tailgate. It does have a option where you can kick underneath it and open it. This one in particular doesn't have it, but you can open it from inside the vehicle, the key fob, or you can just push underneath the logo and it'll open right up. And it's a little bit on the slower side compared to other vehicles I've seen, but you can see back here we have pretty good storage. I'd say pretty average in the class. See all my dog here. Got a little storage bin back here. 12-volt power outlet. There is one single LED switch back here. Got a shade to cover everything up if you need it. And the seats are 60-40 split, and you can do it from over here. Obviously it's easier to do it from the side over there. And being a hybrid, you would think you would not have a spare tire, but the hybrid battery bank is actually located behind the rear seats, so you do still have a temporary spare tire underneath, which is nice. It's always good to have. Not a fan of the tire inflator kits. So here's a look at the rear seats on the RAV. It's a pretty good place to spend some time in. Got plenty of leg room. I do think the RAV is a little bit on the smaller size in a class, but it's still plenty of room for an adult. I'm 5'10", and I still got plenty of knee room, you know. But compared to the competitors, I guess it is on the smaller to mid-size of the class, but it's still very usable. The door materials back here. You also have the Softex leather, you know, all up top over here, and the armrest. The rear seats do have heated seats as well. I wish the door pockets were a little bit bigger. Pretty small. You can only fit one bottle in there at an angle. You do have rear vents back here. Also 2 USB power ports, and then center armrest has your cup holders there as well. But it's a very comfortable place to spend. Typical automakers nowadays, no storage pocket behind the driver. You do have one there, but for a family of 3 like we have, it's very usable. The RAV4, you're probably getting a little tight, especially if you have a stroller. I mean, you got decent room back there, but if you have a stroller and everything else you're trying to lug, I would say it'd probably be pretty limiting. But family of 3, it works really. The rear seats can recline in 2 positions. It's not too much movement. This is the most upright position, and using this handle over here, you can move it into the rearmost position, but it's not like you're lounging back or anything. But I guess it's nice you have the choice of what you want to do. Then to put the seat down, same latch, and put the seat down. It's a 60-40 split. It's not a perfectly flat load floor. Do have a little bit of an incline here, but it's still pretty practical and usable. So to summarize this video, were we happy we made this purchase? Absolutely. We would do this purchase again in a heartbeat. We did pay about $40,000. That's all in taxes, fees, all that stuff. At the time, Toyota, I think, had like a $1,500 lease, not a lease credit, finance credit. If you finance through them, we did have a trade-in, so that knocked in some of our taxes too, but 40 grand all in. I guess nowadays it's a pretty average vehicle price, but for all the luxury goodies you have in here, all the safety tech, you know, the radar cruise control, the automatic headlights, all that stuff. This does have front and rear parking sensors, which is handy to have when you're parking in tight spaces, garages, things like that. There is some minor dislikes, nothing that affects the drivability of the car, usability of the car. You know, like I mentioned earlier with the memory seats, not linking the mirrors. There is a tire pressure monitor system on here, but it's not the one that measures all the tires individually. There's no readout on it. It's just if there's a low pressure on the tire, light illuminates, and you got to play the guessing game to figure out which one's which. But this car is comfortable, it's roomy, it's fuel efficient, it's been reliable so far. So not sure what else you'd want for a family hauler, but definitely recommend the RAV4. So thanks for watching my video. I appreciate any likes I get. Please subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.